I would like to begin by telling a story. And this story is a very, very popular story. For those who are in the self-help motivational industry, or for those who read books, they would have come across this story. But for those who haven't heard of it, please follow me along as we go on this journey in the next 15 minutes. Now, in Okinawa, Japan, they live a group of... Okinawa, Japan is the home to some of the oldest people on earth. Some of the centenarians and co. They live over 100 years. And some people attribute this long age to what they've eaten. It's a high region, so they believe it could also be the climate, the weather, the geography. But the people in those regions identify one particular thing to why they live so long, and that is their philosophy. Their philosophy is tied into an idea called Ikigai, which translates in English, a reason to live. Now, Ikigai is built on 4 main pillars: doing what you love, doing what you are good at, building the economy from it, and impacting your community. Now, when Ikigai, the idea of Ikigai is used in settings, it's usually used with the idea of finding a career, of finding a career path. But when I came across this philosophy, it said something different to me. It highlighted what it meant to really be yourself and stand in yourself by finding what you love, what you are good at, finding what the world needs, and finding economy from it. Now, I would keep this story on one end in your mind, then I would also tell another story. Now, growing up, human nature or human race from the beginning, primitively, has always learned to move in the herd. From the dawn of time, you either move with the pack or you die. If you don't move with the herd in the ancient times, you could get eaten by a lion. In the herd, there was safety. In the herd, there was protection. But I believe humanity has moved far past the idea of the herd. I think we've moved far past the idea of lions chasing us. And as much as we have evolved, one issue I've seen is that we have not evolved past the idea of moving in the herds. The idea of every human being is a very, very unique being. Like there are so many permutations to how one human being is formed. But we are all conformed to moving in a specific way. When it comes to the sciences, for example, you want to go to university, it's medicine, engineering, it's medicine, it's engineering, it's law. But a lot of times we fail to see what is around us. I'll use a very personal example. For those who know me, for those who don't know me, I'm an identical twin. I have an exact split replica of me. I have cute, right? Yes. I have a very split replica of me. And we both grew up together. We both ate the same food. We lived most of our life together. But growing up and becoming adults, we are very two separate human beings with different ideologies, with different dreams, with different ideas, with even different hairstyles. So I feel it's a very core concept to understand that we are built very differently. Now that leads me to my first point today. My own philosophy for standing out actually means to stand in. Now, this might sound a little bit confusing because we're talking about being out. But I believe that if we can really tap into the uniqueness of who we are, the interesting, unique permutation of our beings, we can find the deep connection to the things that we really love, the things we are really good at, the things that can help our economy, the things that can bring in money, and the things that can help our society. I believe that if we learn to really embrace the uniqueness of who we truly are by standing in, we'll stand out. We'll be very different from the herd. So I feel it's a very important thing we need to look into. Personally, I like giving my thoughts as very subjective, but it's a core guiding principle for me. I would use another personal example. When I got into, people usually ask me, medicine, documentary filmmaking. They seem like two very 5 miles apart. What are you doing? In fact, I'll even tell you a more interesting story. When I got into medical school, my brothers and my friends, they placed a bet that I'll drop out by 200 level. But I'm a 600 level now, and hopefully I'll be a doctor by next year. But he asked me, why medicine and documentary filmmaking? And I say, medicine explores the human body and healing the human body. Documentary filmmaking explores capturing the human soul and the depth of the human soul. Both of them both connected by exploring humanity. And personally, it's a way, it's unique to me. It's my unique view of the two worlds. And so when I chased medicine and documentary filmmaking, it doesn't feel like it forced on me. I'm not doing it from a standpoint to show that I'm different. It's my natural. It's my ikigai. So I feel it's a very core concept for us to really embrace our inner depths, our inner selves, and find that uniqueness in us and build economy and a career on that idea. Now, personally, they will say, we've been told since we were born to step into a box, fit into this, be a doctor, be a lawyer, be an engineer, be whatever. But it's important to know that your being is not defined by a word or a skill. Everybody seated here has something very unique about them. Some people, not everybody is going to stand on a stage. Not everybody is going to be very bold enough to speak. Some people might just be shy. But in that shyness, there might be a very unique aspect of that shyness. And it's the same thing with even social media. And this is going to lead me to my next point. Usually, as creators or as filmmakers and artists, and when I mean artists, I do not just label artists as fine artists, painters, filmmakers. As in every field of life we endeavor in, I believe we're all artists because we need to express ourselves through that field. So it's leading me to my next point. Don't create, just express. For example, when we want to go on social media, we want to create social media content, we look for what is trending and we try and replicate so that we can blow and so that we can trend. Forgetting that who made the content the first time was just expressing themselves and it works. And I feel it's something very interesting we need to all understand. As a filmmaker, I have studied some of the greatest filmmakers to have existed on the earth. For those who are into film, I'm sure you know Christopher Nolan, Stanley Kubrick, and whatnot. If I bring a film script and give it to 10 renowned filmmakers, the exact same script, they will interpret that script differently, and the films will be very different. So it makes me wonder, when it comes to creating, or when it comes to our workspace, or in any field we endeavor, why do we always try to follow what everyone else is doing? I'm not saying be rebellious or be negative. I'm just saying, why don't we bring in our own uniqueness? Why don't we bring in our own spice to every space that we're going to venture into? It's a very, very core part of me because many people are just photocopying themselves. Now, this leads me to also my next point, which is activity is not progress, but inactivity is death. Now, I've talked about standing out by standing in. I've talked about expressing yourself over copying creation. But it's also important to know that if you are not active, if you do not put in the work, if you are inactive, I don't want to use the word death per se, but actively it is death. Biologically speaking, once your cells, or once in any biological system, once the cells lose life, once they become inactive, they are termed dead. As much as artists, we usually fall into this bubble of believing that we need to enter a particular zone, we need to just sit down and get into our head. But I've learned that no matter how small it is, no matter how inconsequential it is, just put in the least work, even if it's just daily. I will use a personal experience. When I got into medical school, it became a problem because one of the greatest gifts you can give a medical student is time. And my time was very, very limited, and I understood that fact. So early on in medical school, I have two other brothers into the media space. We decided to morph into a production company. Now, morphing into the production company called Three Wise Men Productions, what did it do for me? It gave me time to explore different things I would like to explore. And it gave me focus on being a documentary filmmaker. As much as I'm in medical school, attending lectures, going for award rounds, and very good students, I have a team at different points in the country doing specific projects. And I just handle the administration. And we just have evening meetings. That way, I am always active. I would also use another experience. When I wrote a very tough exam in medical school termed one of the toughest exams in medical school, called pathology and pharmacology. And while I was digging into pathology and pharmacology and going daily for the exams, I got a random message from a very top executive at Funny asking where I was in the globe. And I said, I'm in Nigeria now. And that small conversation sparked into a 5-star trip to Los Angeles within a month, immediately after I'd done my part farm exam. So it taught me, and the only way that came was because of the fact that as much as I was even writing exams, through social media, through my communications, through my platforms, I was actively sharing the work I and my team do. Personally, if you read my bio, I'm sure some people will find it impressive, some people might not. But there's a part of it that I've not usually mentioned. In the last 3 years, I've had over 150 rejection emails from film festivals, from cold emailing, from very random programs. But it might seem like, okay, everything just works clearly. But it's in a bid to always remain active. The more you remain active, the more probability or chance you have of something good actually happening. Now, I've said a lot, but if there's anything you pick from what I've said, it should be this. In order to stand in, I believe you do not need to fit into a different box. You don't need to force yourself to be different. All you need to stand out is actually to believe in yourself, to hug in your traits and stand in. And in standing in, express your creativity through it. And in doing that, remember, always be in motion. Do not be at a place on a standstill. And I will end by these words. The world does not need more copies. The world just needs you. Okay.